Hello, hello, hello again, everybody. We are back. I am AltJake. You are listening to another classic match review from AltJake Takes On, and my buddy George is here with me as always. How you doing today, my friend?
Good. Returning segment.
Right? Yeah, no, it's a little bit different. I got so used to the opening videos, and it's like, oh, right now I gotta just start right from the beginning with this one. But yeah, we'll bring it up again because we keep wanting to put it over because it was such a great conversation. But if you go back in our archives and listen to episode 30, or even a few different clips that I've got of our conversation with Howard Baum, that was kind of what we were building up to with these classic match reviews. We knew we were going to have that classic 70s wrestling conversation with Howard that really went well. So if you're looking for more of this old school type content, I recommend checking out that video. That is
that was the whole reason. That was the whole reason behind it. I was building up for it. And
like even for a bit. So and even before we were gonna do that, like you gave me a list, like, hey, make sure to watch these ones because we knew either Howard was at them or they were important to them, and we were able to incorporate all those into the conversation. And we've got a lot of good reception from that. So we're going to try to do more of conversations like that with other folks. And I'm sure we'll bring Howard back one day soon. He was awesome. And he seemed to enjoy it, which really is, you can't ask for much better than that for what we're doing here. You know, like we say, we're just trying to have some fun with this and see where it goes and share our opinions with folks. And when we can have conversations like that,
fun.
Oh man,
good times.
Yeah, that one was a ton of fun.
But today we are doing wrestling.
Classic match of the week.
WrestleMania 8, baby. This one I was going to kind of lean more to you to set the stage of it, of what this, because I remember this as a kid. Was this April 1992? So from the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Packed house.
I was going to say, it says 62,167 on the attendance. And I heard certain people saying like they think it was 47 paid or whatever. But every time I saw in that crowd, it was full to the rafters.
It was full.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where I know, Indianapolis isn't considered like a large city or what. I mean, it's one of the, it's not in it's not Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, but it's one of those things that when it's coming, people start to, I think this might have been
centrally located. That's why.
Yeah. And not that far from Canada either. I just feel like this is probably the first one since WrestleMania 3 that you probably had a large contingent of people traveling to because you knew you could go. I mean, this was really only the second ever full stadium WrestleMania.
They did the 3 in Detroit, and then they kind of took a
they tried to do 7
smaller venue stance, and then they just kind of did it.
Yeah. Well, I guess Toronto. I mean, Toronto's the Skydome, so that's bigger. But I know it was WrestleMania 7. Was it the Rose Bowl they wanted to do or the Coliseum? It was one of those two. And
Coliseum, I think.
Was the Coliseum? I knew it was one of the Southern California big stadiums. But either way, all right.
They blamed terrorism.
They blamed terrorism, except for that they held the Super Bowl in the Rose Bowl in 1992. So, but it is what it is. I get it, yeah. But I just the idea of this being the next big stadium show. I mean, people went out for it. People packed that house.
Yeah.
It was,
it was definitely packed.
And as this match is the one that, obviously that we're picking from it, and this is probably the best match, bell for bell on the card with it. But you also did have Hogan versus Sid Justice. We had Savage versus Flair for the title, and Flair had Mr. Perfect with him. So I mean, that's a double main event essentially. I mean, you also had Undertaker versus Jake Roberts, and I always forget that the opening match is Shawn Michaels versus Tito Santana back in. And none of these matches go super long. Like this match itself is only 18 minutes, and it tells an incredible story.
13, right?
No, it says you're right. My bad. 13:51. Yeah, almost 14 minutes. Yeah.
But this is also in the time period where, as you can see here, this is before the match, and they're live. Every match was done like this before. They had the two talents out there before with Mean Gene. they would do their thing and then they get introed out to the crowd. So this was something they were doing at the time.
Yeah, and that is crazy too, of like doing it live right before the match, because people, I mean, nowadays people are talking the match out or getting themselves in the right mindset or whatever. But yeah, because when I initially watched it, I think my brain just thought this was done like previously as a pre-tape, but then you see what they're wearing and you're like, no, this is match gear, match ready.
The whole shows. They were doing a lot of this at the time, though.
Yeah, and I mean,
Vince wanted to go this direction. I kind of liked it.
Well, and I mean, it's almost like the, early 90s version, because you can do video packages, but not as good as they can do them now, where they can tell the whole story in 2 or 3 minutes. They basically built the heat of this match in this moment, because Roddy starts talking to Bret about, oh, I knew your mom, I knew your dad, I know your family when you were knee high to a grasshopper. He's basically
he's
downplaying.
He's giving him compliment sandwiches.
Right. But also
says you were the one, your mom made great sandwiches, but only 1 slice of bologna.
Right.
Stuff like that.
You could tie your shoes, but you tied them together was the other line. That was and he was just talking down to him.
Backhanded compliments.
Yeah, like and I'm older and better, and like almost dismissing him. And Bret got heated about it, which was good. It set this up, because it's hard to. And I know the WWE specifically, with the Vince and Vince Sr. had trouble with these babyface matches. They didn't know exactly how to book them. They always go back to us at Shea Stadium with Pedro and Bruno, and because it was raining, and they blamed that for the low tickets, but they even did like the highest gate anyway. But whatever. It's just
Bret really during the intros, I noticed like Piper was definitely the crowd favorite.
Oh, for sure, and. With his history, he kind of had to be with it.
I don't remember, because Bret had the title first and Piper took it off him.
Well, no, Piper. So what happened? I looked it up to check it out because I wasn't sure. So Bret lost it to, I think the Mountie. I think it was the Mountie that he lost it to, and then Piper got it off him. Yeah. Ugh. That's because that Piper won it at the Rumble.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, let me pull it up for sure, but I'm pretty positive.
Did he had the Mountie a time with the IC title?
It was the Mountie. That's where I'm confused. I'm not sure if it's the Mountie or it was somebody in that kind of transitional championship, so that you can have it be this match.
It's interesting because Piper never held a championship ever.
Right. This was Bobby Heenan made sure to say that multiple times. I felt like
I knew that. I knew that going in, so that's why I was surprised he actually had it. I forgot he had it.
Yeah,
I remember the big selling point for Piper was he never wanted the title.
Right, and it's also too like one of the things that he actually he didn't need it. It's one of those things where the title isn't going to elevate him. Yes, I am right. 1992 Royal Rumble. Roddy Piper defeated the Mountie for his first and only Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship.
Mountie defeated Bret Hart.
Right? That's the other. He had to have cheated. Jacques Rougeau. I wonder how that went. I don't remember.
That was a Canadian match. Interesting.
Right? Maybe that's the reason why Bret was willing to drop it, because he was willing to drop it to another Canadian. Oh man. No,
bet that was done in Canada.
Said the Mountie's greatest achievement as a singles wrestler came when he won the Intercontinental title in an upset over Bret January 17th, 1992. In the storyline, Hart was suffering from the flu, and he was actually going through contract negotiations. And the Mountie lost the title 2 days later to Rowdy Piper. It doesn't tell me where it was. I could probably pull it up, but yeah, there's a reason why we don't remember that title reign. 2 days.
It worked.
But also, I mean, that's kind of funny when you think of it, of the story, the contract negotiations of how that kind of happened with it. That's crazy. I didn't realize. I didn't realize till it was when I was watching. Shout out to Jim Cornette and Brian Last. When I pulled up the video on YouTube, I watched the match, and then they had their watch along of it, and it was them who told me that. I definitely would have assumed, but then they were saying this is the first match between Bret and Roddy. So, it's crazy. This is just madness. The whole thing is just ridiculous that it's the Mountie had the title even for 2 days. Like, wait, what? It doesn't tell me where he won it.
That's definitely Vince going by the seat of his pants, going, well, if this guy's not going to be around, I'm getting rid of the title quick.
Right? Yeah, I want to make sure
he wouldn't take his own advice later on down the line, of course. But
well, this is before Vince started taking headshots with chairs, right?
This is what he should have done before the Montreal thing even happened. Take the
Yes,
title off. Bret.
absolutely. And yeah, and I know that it was like, oh well, he wanted to get it on Shawn. Undertaker would have been. Undertaker was the answer.
Let's not go down this route.
I know. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But you're right though. Just drop it to somebody so you don't have that nonsense. But they started first off. What's with this referee's haircut? Just I got a couple of shots.
The referee bothered me.
Yeah, he was not good. Who
really
was it?
I don't know. I've never seen him before. Never seen him before. Never seen him since.
Is that okay? So I'm looking at it. So the referees on this list are Joey Morello, which is Gino's. Yeah, it's Earl Hebner, not Earl Hebner. Danny Davis, Nightmare Danny Davis, right? So Roger Ruffin is who this man is. He's the only one on Wikipedia that doesn't have his own page to link to. So I don't know who this guy is. This a local guy? I don't know what this was, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. The match, however, is fantastic. The match is and they tell the story of Roddy being the older and more wiry veteran, the smarter veteran, of being able to kind of take it to Bret, and Bret has to use his speed and skills, and he does it, kind of gets him out of the ring once with it, but they both kind of do a few little underhanded things here and there, but both still keep the crowd going. Let's
not forget the commentary team of Gorilla and Bobby.
Oh my God.
And Bobby Heenan giving all the possible wording for money there possibly could be.
He did
money,
Simoleons, dinero,
Somalians,
You wonder if Vince was in his ear giving him extras because at one point he stops and then he comes back with like 4 more.
Stopped and threw in a couple more. That was great.
Yeah, you're right.
But I have a feeling the referee was probably used because a lot of the other refs didn't want to be involved in some of the shit that they were doing.
Okay, yeah,
maybe, I don't know. I'm guessing.
I get you
because they used the ref a couple times.
Yeah,
the ref has to separate them, and Bret cheap shots Piper first.
Right, I was just gonna say, but it's funny how Heenan focuses more on it when Bobby does or when Roddy does it. No, it's good stuff. Bobby and Gorilla, obviously everybody loves them together with it, but it's the little things they do back and forth sometimes with it, where it's like, oh, you never been. When I was champion, what were you champion of? The street, the neighborhood. I was able to pin Tracy Simmons across the street or whatever he said. Oh, it's great, just great stuff. Also, too. So maybe you can tell me this. When did they go from calling Bret Hitman Hart to Bret the Hitman Hart? Because I know it's all like they always call him Hitman Hart, and then at some point it changes to Bret the Hitman Hart. I don't know why. I can't always catching. Because I always pay attention to Howard Finkel because I was always a big fan of the Fink. But
I'm thinking as you're talking.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those weird things, and maybe just me being goofy and noticing.
Probably when the tag team was established shortly after. No, when he left the tag team.
Yeah, I don't know.
That would seem like the time to do it. Like when the tag team is broken up, he's on his own.
Right, and that's when they start calling him Hitman. But I feel like the Hitman was more late. Like when he loses in Montreal, he's Bret the Hitman Hart. I thought. I'm not sure. It's just something Bret Hitman Hart. There's no the or the. It's kind of like the Ohio State University.
I was hoping for something, but it didn't come to mind. So
yeah, you're good. It's the weird shit that I notice. I'm an only child, so I'm very, very observant, and it's one of those things that just caught my ear, and it's just like I wonder when that was, or maybe if it was just something that's what Finkel called him. I'm not sure, but it definitely did. It caught my ear for sure. But the match goes back and forth, but Roddy is the aggressor. Like when he lets Bret back in and Bret's like doubling over, Roddy hits him with the sucker punch, throws him on the top of the turnbuckle, and is giving him those like
the sucker punch is when he busted him open.
Right. Yeah. As I say, that's so Bret can get his juice, and then Bret's bleeding.
You can tell at the time period that bleeding wasn't really a big thing.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they see it, then you get to hear Gorilla Monsoon and he's busted wide open.
Yeah,
wide open. He's bleeding all over like a stuffed pig. Oh, I shoot.
Yeah, no. And they have to. And at the beginning, like, is he bleeding? Or was sure? I can't see from this angle. Oh, he is. Yeah, no. There's also one point where Monsoon says to Heenan, there's a lot of things you don't know for being a broadcast journalist. That just made me laugh. I feel like someone should edit that out and resend that to Dave. There's a lot of things you guys don't know for being journalists.
If you notice,
more things change.
This was also the time period where referees do not put on gloves.
Right. Oh yeah. No, that was never a thing. No, that was especially when with the old bow ties and stuff. Look, when did I mean they didn't start really doing the gloves thing until the 2000s.
Relatively recently.
Yeah. I also like the shout out to Roddy. Let Roddy go into the Golden Globes. That was cool. That was fun for just how they brought that up and how that Roddy was he was a pop culture mainstream star, and you can hear it in the crowd. Like they don't have to do a ton in this match to get the crowd cheering loudly. Like Roddy goes up to the middle rope at one point, and the crowd explodes for it because that's not what Roddy does. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I just really enjoy a lot of that part of it.
Plus Heenan was on point a couple times. He's like, "Oh, Piper's going up to the second rope," and he, Monsoon would say, "Piper's going up to the second rope," and Heenan, is he playing possum again?
He doesn't go up there much. Yeah, no, you're right.
That's good.
Yeah, it was just there was a lot of those extra, and that's the great stuff about Gorilla and Heenan. They just can kind of pass back and forth, and even the stuff about the countries, because Monsoon's like, "Oh, we're in over 30 countries," and Heenan goes, "Yes, spell them,
name them."
But no, he first said, "Spell them." That's what he goes like, "No, spell them." And they kind of and then he starts naming off, obviously, like the massive European countries. It's funny now though when you hear like over 30 countries, like that'd be small time for them at this point. So,
actually, I think they probably broadcast to more countries then than they do now.
I don't think so. I mean, because with every country in Europe, you've got a lot of countries in
which is what they had here.
It'd be interesting to see. I feel like they're probably in close to or over 100 countries now. That I feel like I've heard them say that, but I don't know. It caught my eye with their banter back and forth. And I just thought it was just fun for them to bring that kind of stuff and then being able to still use it as an advertisement for what they're doing as well. And Heenan also called the Golden Globes. What do you call it? Oh, amateur punk stuff. That made me laugh. What do you mean? It's an award show. Do you get paid for it? Well, no. Well, then it's amateur punk stuff. No dinero. Back to it. And then the big moment, you get to where Roddy goes, and Heenan at one point early in the match says, "Roddy should get a chair, grab the bell, grab something." You kept saying different things, and then Roddy grabs the bell, and this is one of those things that, obviously by '92 it was a cliched and classic wrestling spot, but if done right and done sparingly, this shit works. How many times has Adam Page done this exact spot with either the belt or a bell or whatever in the last 2 years? Like, "I'm going to hit you." No, I'm not. "I'm going to hit you." No, I'm not. And it's just, but the way they did it and they tell the story with it where Roddy he picks it up like that and he's looking around because the crowd's booing him. Like, yeah, I don't want to get booed. It's very, very well done in that storytelling without saying anything, without actually even a lot of movement. Roddy just has to pick up his arms and look.
Well, because relatively recently, he just turned face. Not too long before this. Not too long. It was
right.
What was it like yesterday? But right. He was a heel for the longest time. So now the crowd likes him, and he's got to go back to he's got to think about it.
Right, and that's also too why it works so well, because everybody watching knows Roddy and knows who he was, and know that you could easily, you would not be surprised if that's what he turned.
Plus, they also established it earlier with the cheap shots.
Right. So exactly. Thank you. Yes. So I was going to say it was the Piper's Pit at WrestleMania. I couldn't remember if it was 5 or 6 where he comes out with Morton Downey Jr. and hits him with the fire extinguisher. Like, he came back, he was a babyface, and then he would go away and come back. He wasn't always in around it, but pretty much since he returned in like 89, 90, he'd been a complete babyface, but you always knew. And even when he would cut the promos, he would be a little bit more smart alecky and a little bit more, twist the knife a little bit harder, better than like the pure baby faces would. And then you get to the moment of he throws the bell down, puts him in the sleeper hold, and they kind of go back and forth. And then another thing that's been done a bajillion times.
Now the reason the bell was introduced because the ref took a bump.
Oh yeah.
So he was out of commission for a while. So that's where they went to the that's why they went to the bell. So
right. Yeah. Thank you. I forgot about that. Because we mentioned the refs earlier and I forgot to
it was a good bump too. It was very convincing ref bump, and it wasn't long, like it wasn't 15, 20 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Because the whole match is only 13. Yeah.
It was about a 2-3 minute interval, but a ref was knocked out, and that's where Piper got the bell. So that worked out. It was perfectly done.
Right. And then, and it wasn't like he took that long when he was mulling over the decision. Like the whole thing lasts from the time he grabs the
25
belt till he
seconds
puts it
tops.
down, maybe 90 seconds, maybe 2
Not
minutes.
even
Like
that. Not even
yeah,
that.
right. Like well, he brings it, he looks, and then, yeah, and it's, and this roll up pin. I mean, this is the exact way that Cody beat Gunther at Crown Jewel last year. Gunther had him in the sleeper hold and he runs into the corner.
Yeah,
does the
2 feet off the top rope and push off and roll through.
And I mean, it's just like these are those classic Bret Hart finishes that were different than anybody else. Kind of like his match, in a few years at WrestleMania 10 with Owen. The way they end those matches and the way they have those finishes, it's a great moment, and the crowd's watching it into it. It's not like a long submission hold that you take forever and then the guy taps out or whatever. It just and then even, well, I was gonna say when the bell rings, but the bell doesn't ring because it's not there. But when they announced that Bret's won, Roddy's standing up, Roddy's still good, and he's like, what the, and Bret's on the ground and bleeding with it. So it's a great juxtaposition, but
this is one of the few Bret Hart matches I didn't see him do this is one of the few Bret Hart matches I did not see him do a front turnbuckle spot.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Doesn't happen at all. I was waiting for it. Didn't see it.
Right, because it is one of those classic Bret spots. But you're right. No, I didn't even think about it honestly. But you're right, because he did a lot of the other like classic Bret moves. I
look for small little things that I've seen before. And when I don't see it, I'm like, okay, well,
yeah. But that's another great thing that when we talk about wrestling nowadays or whenever, but like you don't have to do everything you can do in every single match. Sometimes tell your story with it. And then they have the moment where it looks like Roddy is going to attack Bret or still kind of fight with him, but he puts the belt on him. And
no, hang on. I don't think he looked at all like he was ready to go attack him. I think he had just realized he lost and wanted to do the honors.
Well, that's what it was. But I feel like as the fans watching,
it never looked. That's a disagreement on our part, but I don't think he portrayed that. I just think he just realized he's lost and pissed.
I'm not saying it was so much portrayed. I'm just figuring like it's crazy Roddy. He can snap at any moment. As a kid, when I was watching it, I
never thought that once during watching it. But that's me.
Yeah, but I was also 10 years. I wasn't even 10 yet. This was before.
I'm talking us watching it.
Yeah.
Now.
No, I was going like in the moment as I was watching it. Then obviously now but as a kid, I definitely the entire time I was watching it, I only could think of Roddy as a heel. Like that's all I ever knew him as. I always thought he was especially. I mean, I'm 9 years old. The hell do I know? I haven't seen any of the movies or anything that he did in real life. I didn't even know he made movies. It wasn't like I was allowed to go see They Live.
You couldn't.
Right. I don't think I saw that till I was probably I was in high school at some point. Forget where somebody gave me the VHS copy and changed my life. And
I didn't see it for the longest time when it came out. I
was like, it got like a decent release, but not like a mass release. It was more of a cult classic ever than more of a cult classic than a blockbuster. 100%. But then they even had the they have the scene at the end where they're walking out together, and I mean, it's crazy when you look at that picture, just and look at the aspect of it of just the legendary wrestling and just that one shot on the two of them. They're two of the all-time greatest workers of the business, whether it's babyface, whether it's heel. Do you need them to be dirty? Do you need to be technical? Do you need to be a dogfight? Do you need to be a technical wrestling clinic? Do you need it to be comedy? Do you need it
this is also the best Piper has ever looked in the ring.
Yes.
Physically.
Yes. You're absolutely right. Yeah. No, it's like his apex where and really it's like, because from here, like once he goes to WCW, it's not good.
I mean, look at him. There's not an ounce of fat on him right there.
No, he's got abs. No, I mean, he had gas in the tank for day. He still definitely could have gone longer if he needed to. You're absolutely right. He's the most muscle, but also lean than he's had. Because when he was younger, one of the issues was he was too skinny. And then obviously as you get older, we all get a little bit too chubs. But yeah, you're right. Especially looking at him there. I mean, look at the muscle definition. There's abs.
Yeah, looks good. Look good.
The right arm even. Yeah, no, but it was, it's one of those matches where there is no turn, even though you're having it as a double babyface match. You don't have to have anybody turn anybody else. You're able just to have a great technical classic wrestling match. And it's one of those things where I feel like for a long time people had kind of forgotten about it, but then as we've all kind of gotten older and people have appreciated real professional wrestling more so. It's gone back, and it's not in the same pantheon as, Savage and Steamboat, but I mean, it's pretty high up there in the list of wrestling. When I pulled it off of WWE,
it was the top 25 on WWE.
It was the 25th. It was match number 25. That's exactly where I was going with it. Thank you. Yeah, it was number 25 on that list. That was what I pulled it from, was that. And I mean, and with how many WrestleMania matches there's been, that's probably not the worst place to put it on the list for it. But for me personally, because Roddy's one of my favorites, and I will admit it, I didn't really get Bret as a kid, even as a teen. Like, I didn't really get Bret till I got older, because I wasn't watching wrestling for the, as that. It didn't mean as much to me then. Now as an adult, watching Bret's matches means so much more to me, and there's so much. I see the little things and see the stuff that actually matters more.
This is also the time period in the WWF where they're not doing babyface on babyface matches.
Right.
This may be, I can't remember they don't do it. They don't do it very often. During this time, it wasn't being done.
Right.
Vince would already have established heels for the champion baby faces to run through, and then he'd come around to the baby face that's on the bottom coming up to meet the heel.
Right.
The tried and true formula.
Right. And then even once you get in, I mean, because this is 92, so you're not that far away from the Attitude Era. And even if you say, oh, well, there was babyface then, not really. It was like anti-hero versus anti-hero. Like, nobody was a real, true babyface back. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different. So you're right. This was something that you don't see much of, if at all. Because usually they were going to turn somebody in those matches, or it would be like you were going to start it, but then somebody interferes. Like, really, the only other one you can think of in the early WrestleMania era is WrestleMania 6 with Hogan and Warrior. Everything else is there's a heel involved somewhere. It's just not babyface. But I mean, during
the match, they had you could have thought that maybe they could have turned either one of them during the course of that match, because they both used dirty tactics, so that evens out. They both do some stuff that they should, just. Yeah, but it
was dirty tactic, but it was a sucker punch, not a low blow. You know what I mean? It wasn't like,
but the referee was talking to the other guy, and he popped him, and then
I'm just saying, like, there's levels of evil. Like, a sucker punch in that moment isn't like if he'd have dropped down and hit him in the nuts without the ref knowing, or like gouged the eye. That's more heelish. Like, that's where they were just perfect. Like, it's like you're going just up to the line, and maybe your toe or two goes over it, but not completely over it to keep the crowd where it was. That's
the thing that Heenan lets you know too.
Yes,
because after the first sucker punch, when Gorilla flips out on Piper for taking that dirty shot, Heenan even says, "Well, Bret Hart started it."
Yep, exactly. Yeah, no, that's why they're just the perfect, almost, if not the perfect tandem back and forth with Gorilla and Heenan, because they can do it. They know what the other one's going to say, or they know, like, here, let me lob this up and see if you can knock it down. And they always did. No, it was just, I mean, it's pretty much the perfect babyface match. I mean, it's hard to think of anyone off the top of my head that were better than that and more impactful. And then also too, I mean, if it also elevates the Intercontinental title, because they both of these fantastic wrestlers wanted it so bad. And
that was the IC title back in this time period was actually almost higher regarded wise. Almost, not quite.
Almost. I mean, it's the difference of, it was always, they kind of looked at it as the hardest worker in the company or the best worker in the company. And,
because you got to remember the time period shortly after, a couple years later, the IC title kind of just fades off.
Yeah, no, I mean, I always think of when
it just recently came back. And
it was always there, but it was
it was hang on. It's kind of here. It's at its peak, right? Shortly after, it kind of starts to fade off, and it's always there. We know that, but then I think within the last, what do you think, 10 years, it started coming back up through the ranks.
What I remember the most of that, that's a great question, because when I think of it, it was that time. I think it was even during the pandemic, but it was like AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, like good back to like these wrestlers that are really good at this and have a good history of their career going for it. Before that, now granted, there's a few years that I was off that I didn't watch as much, so I can't speak to it. I do know when they talk about it, they talk about that when they had the forget what Raw it was, but they did half of it in Brooklyn and half of it in the Manhattan Center. And Miz won the old version of the Intercontinental title, like the old strap version of it in Brooklyn, and then took it to the Manhattan Center. Whenever I think that happened, I'll give Miz that credit where Miz wanted to re-elevate the Intercontinental title because he, like us, is an older wrestling fan and wanted to put up the importance to it. Where I think it got diminished, in my mind, I can almost pinpoint the exact moment where it really fell off a cliff or thrown into a river with the whole Austin like giving it away to Rock because I'm going to go for he didn't even win the world title yet. He was just, I'm going to go for the world title, so I don't want the Intercontinental title anymore. I know they made a fun storyline out of that, but It's kind of like when you look at it at its core on paper, it's like F you IC belt, I'm going for here, and I mean it took a while to recover. And then also too, you had the biggest problem with the Attitude Era, not the biggest problem, one of the biggest problems of the Attitude Era is there was the belts just changing hands all the time. And if it wasn't the world belt, the Intercontinental title. I mean, that's one of the reasons they probably made the hardcore belt the way they did, so they could change that title more, but not destroy.
Well, here's what I want from people listening is if you know more about the IC title, please comment in the comment section. Just let us know what you think on that. When you think it actually kind of lost momentum and when it actually came back. So we have obviously we have our opinions. So if you want to comment on that, we'll take a look at what you gotta say.
Please, yeah, absolutely. I am all for every comment. Good, bad.
There's gotta be something we're missing somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
because I know it just disappeared, but it didn't disappear. Okay, I'm over exaggerating,
right? But even like
I don't know
undashing Cody Rhodes or like Cody with the face mask, he had it for a bit, and like there'd be guys that would try to elevate it, but just like then
people didn't care though. That's what I'm saying. There was a time where people didn't care about it.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to pinpoint.
Because of all it had kind of been washed out. Literally for me, I just think of that time when Austin was like, I don't need this anymore. And it made sense to a point, but also it really shat on the IC title. And I didn't like that part of it because I always loved the Intercontinental title. It's one of those things where, it's like you said, it's the best wrestler usually had it for a while.
We'll see what our comment section draws up for us.
Yes, please, by all means. Also, too, if there's any matches that you guys would like to suggest to us, put them in the comments. I'll write them down. I got a notebook over here with lists of matches to keep doing these classes.
I'll announce mine on Sunday Spaces coming up.
Hell yeah. Sweet. Well, speaking of, make sure you guys tune in to Sunday Night Spaces on X through my account at AltJakeTakesOn. We will be back at 8:05 p.m. Eastern this Sunday night. We can review NXT Halloween Havoc. That's happening. I forgot that was happening this Saturday. Right. Good Lord. That stuff comes up quick.
Don't forget our live Thursday show.
That's where I was heading next. And then in 2 days before this Thursday at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, where we will review right here on our YouTube page. We'll break down everything that happened on the night before's AEW Dynamite. We break it down segment by segment. So if you do not want to watch the show,
the post Dynamite from Wrestle Dream, there should be.
Oh God, yeah, right. The Wrestle Dream fallout. We've woken up from our Wrestle Dream and here we are. And also now they're going straight towards not Full Gear. That's happening at like the end of November. They've got another pay-per-view coming right up. I thought they were taking at least a break till World's End, but I guess not. So yeah, we will be the 8:45 p.m. Eastern on Thursday through this YouTube account and 8:05 p.m. Eastern Sunday via my X account. Both are at AltJakeTakesOn. We are very easy to find. Anything else you wanted to cover before we get out of here, my friend?
No, all good.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe. That's the big one. I was going to say, if you enjoy anything of what we do, share it with a friend or two. It really does help the algorithm and helps us grow. And we appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks, everybody. Peace.
We appreciate you making it to the end of the video. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you.